What's up everybody? Eduardo Talbert here with Monster Tutorials. Today we're making burlap half masks like these, and we're making a clown, and you can make it as simple as this one, which just has paint, all the way to really complicated, like this guy right here. So let's get started. Alright, for this project we're going to need a form, right? So that's what I'm using. These styrofoam heads, they work pretty well. However, the issue with these is the size. I made this mask and the peel skin mask using one of these forms, and they don't fit my head, and I have a tiny head. I have like a really small head. So I went and upgraded to this, and I can't say enough of how cool this thing is. Solid plastic, you can put liquid latex on it and peel it off, and it's like awesome. It's big, it's a little bit bigger than a normal head, so any sort of like burlap mask like this will fit most people, and that's the one that I used for the creepy clown. Alright, and that's what we're going to use today. I put a link below where you can get this. There's some professional ones to sculpt like masks that go for like between 90 bucks and like 300. This one is not even 30 bucks, I think. So I put the link below if you want one of these. They're awesome. Next, we're going to use some burlap. Just make sure it's big enough to cover as much of the face as you want. We're going to be making a half mask, not a full, so like this one. But it's just half. Right. On this one, I used a combination of shrink wrap, and that's to shrink wrap the face so it doesn't stick to it. And then I used toilet paper and liquid latex and burlap. On today's mask, we're using shrink wrap, paper towels or toilet paper, and instead of liquid latex, we're going with school glue. It should have the same effect. It should work the same. So let's get started. All right, for this first step, some cling wrap or stretch wrap, just enough to cover the whole head. Right, I'm going to hold it in place with a couple of pieces of tape, but loose enough where you can grab the whole detail of the whole head, so you don't have to stretch it over the head. All right, top and bottom, and then both sides. That's perfect. If you can think of a better way to do this, let me know in the comments below. But what I'm doing is separating the form from the mask itself, so we can just peel it off when the mask is done. All right, next, let's get some paper towels. I'm doing 1 part water, 1 part glue. I'm gonna mix it together. I'm gonna cut the paper towels into strips. Doesn't matter if they have straight edges because it's gonna be covered by burlap. We're basically doing like a paper mache base and then putting the burlap on top. But the burlap is still going to be soaked with the glue, so it hardens. Right, mix your water and glue really well. Nice and mixed. Now we just simply dip the paper towel in the glue, lay it on top, and give it the shape that you want. I'm going to start at the nose that has the most detail, nose and mouth and eyes, and then the rest. So we'll start at the top and go this way. Make sure you reach all the areas that you want, where you want the mask to reach. So if you want it to go all the way to the ear, then bring your paper towel all the way to the ear. If you do extra, it doesn't matter because you can cut it off at the end. So I'm gonna go pretty far here, pretty far around the chin, and pretty far on top of the forehead. And also I put these across the face. Now we're going to put some lengthwise and do about 2 layers. Doesn't have to be a ton of layers because it's going to be really strong once you put the burlap on there. Keep pushing the shape that you definitely want, like the eyes and nose. That's 2 layers I have, so now I'm going to put one last layer around the outside edge of where I want the mask to stop. Starting right here, and then we'll move all around the top. Yep, that looks good. Right, that's nice and covered. Now make sure you keep giving it the shape that you want with your fingers. Right, so that's covered with paper towels. They're still kind of moist. I'm going to take the burlap and soak it in here. All right, now we just lay it on top and start working it into the shape of the mask, starting with the nose right here and the eyes, the mouth, cheeks. Burlap stretches if you want, and it shrinks if you want. So if you want it to shrink on an edge, you just push it towards itself. And if you want it to stretch it, you can just stretch it. It has a lot of latitude because the fibers are so spaced apart. And try to keep the wrinkles at the end where they can be glued or cut off after the mask is done. This is a labor of patience. Keep giving the shape that you want while it kind of dries up a bit, and then just let it dry. See the face? All right. Let it sit, and once you know that it's holding its shape really well, you can put it in front of a fan. I'm just going to leave it here overnight. Once it's a little bit drier, you can very gently put pieces of tape to train some of these edges like you want them. The important part for me is to get these features right here on the top of the face, and then I'll deal with this later. Now some of these areas where it's folded, I'm just going to cut on the fold and then fold one on top of the other. And if they don't glue when they're dry, then we'll glue them afterwards. And you can do that with any of these little wrinkles. Okay, it's been 2 days that this has been drying. Not because it needed 2 days, but because I've been super busy with other stuff, and I finally got some time here to work on this. This is like solid. So we're going to remove it from here temporarily so we can trim it to the shape that you want, the final shape, to adjust any area. So this is lifted, and it's solid, but it's lifted. So if you want to like glue it and push it in, you can do that. So let's remove this and get started with that. There is the mask. So the shrink wrap comes off quite easily, and the inside with the paper towels is pretty smooth. So now you're going to give it the shape that you want. I'm going to mark with a Sharpie the areas I want to cut out. I'm just going to take some scissors and cut the mask out. So I'm going to go like right here at this edge, all the way to this jawbone, then in and across. And on the forehead, I'm going to start pretty high and come all the way around. I'm going to do the same on this other side. let's cut the mask out. There you go. Now comes the hardest part, is deciding what design do you want for the face, right? So go on Pinterest, go on Google, check creepy clowns and decide what you want. For this one, the first step I'm going to do is just paint it white, and I'm going to use an exterior latex paint that is white. That will give this a rubbery coating and it will make it far more resistant. Although this is pretty solid from the glue, but it's not resistant to any humidity. So I'm going to use the exterior latex to paint the whole thing, which at the same time will absorb into the fibers and will make it nice and strong. Got my white paint, and I got some of this disposable chip brushes, which I like this is because it gives it a very uneven paint, so it's not like perfectly white like this guy. As you can see, the white paint is not even, which I like that because it gives it more of a rustic, creepy look. If you want to paint it all white, that's fine too, but I like the missing spots. Some parts is heavy, some parts is pretty light and missing. As you can see, it goes heavy on some parts and light in others. It's a serious storm out there. Anyway, this guy's painted. I'm going to let it dry. I'm just going to put it in front of a fan for a couple hours. This mask is dry. I left it drying last night. It dried in about an hour, but I had to go get dinner for the kids. So I left it to dry. I went to get some pizza. While the pizza was baking, at the pizza place, I went to the dollar store because I still, at that point last night, had no idea what to do with this face, right? So there's what I got. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of it or not, but it's just to give me some possibilities. Got some ping pong balls. Some of these like snowballs. They're about the same size, different sizes, because I want this clown to have a nose. Box cutters, 3 for $1. Can't beat it. Folding knife. But the biggest thing, orange hair. So orange hair and a nose is the things that I know for sure we're going to do. Also I got some spray adhesive, which is pretty good for $1. Some of this stuff is expensive. And that we'll use later. And 9-volt batteries because smoke detector chirping is driving me absolutely crazy. Let's start painting this. The general design is going to be like the eyes are going to be like black and blue with some big high eyebrows. And there's going to be blue on the inside. Then the nose, which is going to be either a ping pong ball or a snow thingy. And then a smile, as opposed to a frown on this guy. It's going to be a smile. But I'm going to cut the smile open and maybe even sew it back down with some of this twine. Okay? And paint. So let's get started with this. First thing I'm going to do is just start designing the general areas. I'm going to start with this area above the eyes with some light blue. I'm starting dark and working it lighter towards the back. If you don't like it, you can always repaint this white and start again. Right, I also want the eyes to be blue. Just the general area of the eye. We're going to cut some of this out. Alright, for the mouth, the smile is right here. Okay, so we're going to put makeup around like huge red lips. And just make it like a messy, dirty red. That's a good start. I'm going to do the eyebrows now. Just using black for this part. I also want black in the middle of the eyes where the pupils are and where we're going to cut the eye holes. Right. A little bit of dirty black here down this mouth. I'm doing some stubble all around the mouth and the cheeks. And I also added black on the top of the eyes. That's looking good. I'll let that dry. Then I'm going to cut the mouth open. For cutting the mouth open, I'm just going to use a knife to get the cut started and then maybe follow up with some scissors. Alright, that's looking good, and we can touch this up again with paint, no problem. Well, my neighbor decided to mow, so I'm sorry about the noise there. But I'm taking some black and just painting the very edge on the inside of this mouth. And then I'm going to take this red nail polish that is super shiny and do the whole edge of the mouth. So it looks shiny, it looks bloody, and it looks wet. Nice and shiny, huh? Alright, next step, let's fit the nose. I'm going to start with these things. Floral foam. Floral foam, that's all it says. Okay, fine. There's a huge one, there's a middle one, and a tiny one. So I don't know which one will look better. Let's try the huge one. That is about the right scale. So we need to like chop it up a little bit. Start fitting it so the nose is kind of like a circle, so let's start cutting a circle in here. Check it out. That fits pretty snug there, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to skewer it with this bamboo thing, and I'm going to go spray paint it outside. I'll be right back. And it's done. I'm going to let this dry. That's nice and dry. I'm going to set it aside and we're going to do the hair right now. So I bought this thing from the dollar store. It's like a little princess type hair thing, and I'm just going to take some of these strands and cut them and maybe divide them maybe 4 ways. There you go. And half. Right, and this one in half as well. Alright, I just set it right here. And we're going to start at the back and work towards the front. So for that, I'm just going to take a little bit of hair, like that, and just put a touch of hot glue, a thin layer, put your hair there and just push it down with a toothpick or something into the glue. Try not to get on the toothpick because then it will be a mess. Right, let's do that all the way around, moving from back to front. Let's do the other side. Alright, the hair is done and it's nice and dry. Check it out. Right, next step. I'm going to cut the eyes out. For that I'm using this ornament to put under the eye, right here, so that I can pierce it with my knife without crushing the mask and without any accident. So you can like push right into the foam. There you go. You just gotta cut through the paper towel and that is done. I'm going to do the same on this eye. The eyes are lined up with mine, so that's perfect. Now I've decided to sew his mouth shut. So I'm going to take this twine right here. I'm going to take a piece. I'm taking it outside. I'm going to stain it with a mixture of water and black latex paint. I'm just going to spray it on there until it gets stained into a black color. That way it looks nice and dirty and not all brand new like this. So next step I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the mouth shut. For that, I have this giant needle right here. Check it out, it's pretty big, right? It has a big eye, which is good because we're going to use this type of string. Let me go get the string that is drying. So the string is now black after I stained it. So see, that's dark and that's light. So that's the color of the string. We're going to sew his mouth shut, and for that I'm going to again set him on the ornament to be able to punch through the burlap in and out as we sew his mouth. Alright, for this step we're taking this giant needle and the rope that I dyed, and we're going to just start sewing the mouth. So I'm just threading the needle, and we are using the ornament, the foam ornament under it to be able to punch through. I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want the holes, and I want a gap here on the front of the mouth, and you'll see why. Right, I put some dots where I want the stitches to go. So let's get started. I'm going to start right there. And if you can get between the fibers, it helps a lot. There you go. This one comes from the outside in. There you go. And if you have trouble pulling this, just grab some pliers. Just grab your needle and pull. Alright, next stitch right here. There you go. There's our first stitch right there. So let's stitch the whole mouth. Alright, I'm going to finish up all the way to here, just doing the same thing. That's the last stitch, so I'm just going to make a knot right here. Next thing I'm going to do is put a strap on this, and that's quite simply putting this rubber band from here to here. I'm just going to punch 2 holes with the needle, put the rubber band and tie it around the back. Alright, strap is done. Now the pièce de résistance. So that involves, know what that is? Oh, foam. No, it's not foam, it's teeth. So I'm going to take 2 front teeth from the top, and I'm going to glue them onto the mask. That's up to you. You can do 100 teeth, you can do 5 teeth, 6 teeth, 1 tooth, doesn't matter. I'm doing 2 on the front, on the top. The link to this teeth is below. It's a great deal because you get 1, 2, 3, 4 full sets of teeth, you know, for like 26, 28 bucks, something like that. And these are real. These are the kind that they make when they do the temporary crowns or temporary bridges that you use when you're getting work done on your teeth. So for that, I'm going to flip the mask over. We're going to glue those in here. Let me change the angle so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, I took these 2 middle incisors right here, and we're going to glue them through the back. This is kind of nerve-wracking because I've never done this before, so let's see. I think they go like this in there, so I'm going to take this hemostats right here. These guys are super slippery. And now, just temporarily, I'm going to put a dot of glue there and put the tooth where I think it should go. Right, see how that looks? Yep, let's put the other one on the other side. Right, I cannot see the teeth very well, so I put a drop of hot glue at this end of this thread and at this end, and I'm going to cut it and fray it. Alright, those teeth look good. I'm just going to set them with a little bit more of hot glue here in the position that I want. Alright, that's nice and creepy there. So, The last thing I wanted to do back here is I have a piece of burlap, and just like I did with the string, I sprayed it with water and black latex paint, and that made it all dark. Why dark? Because I don't want you to see through the mouth, so I'm going to just paste it right there, and that'll help hold the teeth as well. It'll lock all this area up. I'm going to do that with spray glue. So I'm going to go spray this outside, let it get tacky for a couple minutes, and then we'll paste it here. Right, that's nice and tacky. Just going to lay it across the mouth. Well, that's drying. Let's go ahead and do the final step. The last step, if you had forgotten, is the nose. So just going to put some hot glue here and put it right exactly where you want it, where we fit it. Right, let that dry, and we're almost done. The only thing I'm going to do, that may not have to, I don't know how it's going to turn out, is I'm going to spray the hair with a little bit of spray glue, just to make it stiffer and stick straight out. But I'm going to take that outside for that. And we are done. Check it out. Hair sticking up. So that glue worked pretty well, and it's not sticky at all. It's pretty stiff. I added some follow me eyes here just so that you can see what it looks like. This one too. Nice and creepy. But with that technique, you can do something as simple as this, which is just paint. There's nothing but paint and cutting the eyes out. Or go all the way and add hair, nose, teeth, stitching, whatever you want. The possibilities are endless. I'll be making more masks, but I mean, if you need to not have a clown but instead have a scarecrow, go for it and use this. This works awesome. So worked awesome for me. This was my first one. This was my second one. They look great. So give it a thumbs up if you like it. Share it if you feel like sharing it. Don't forget to subscribe, because we're just getting started for Halloween, okay? All right, I'll see you next time. They're creepy.